Well, thanks be to God. Indeed, those are powerful words if you were listening closely. Abba, Father, an intimate relationship with our Heavenly Father. And not just slaves to the law any longer, but sons and daughters of the living God. And if we're sons and daughters, then we're heirs to God's very kingdom that's breaking through here on earth. And will be fully known and fully experienced and fully realized one day when Jesus returns. That's who you are. But just like our children's message highlighted, you know, people don't always say the right things to us. And we know that kids can kind of be really mean to each other once in a while, can't they? I mean, they have no filter, so they just say what's on their mind. If they don't think you're this or that, they'll tell you. And we might be critical of kids, but you know what? Adults do the same thing, don't they? They just use more fancy words, or they just kind of soften the edge a little bit, but they still get that little dig in there, don't they? They still label you, or they judge you, or they critique you. Well, let's not say critique, because critique's not a bad thing. They criticize you, don't they? I'm wondering this morning, here's the interactive part, and remember, we're on live TV here on Facebook, so keep it, you know, don't go and, well, you'll understand. I'm wondering, when you were growing up, or even nowadays, what are some things, some labels that you've heard, maybe you've heard yourself, or some names that you were once called, or maybe you're still called them? What are they? Beanpole. Yeah, I can identify with that. Beanpole. What else? Poor eyes. Four eyes. Four eyes. Yeah, if you wear glasses, 4 eyes. Yeah, could have been that. What else? Cue ball. Huh. I'm starting to resemble that remark. Cue ball. Anything else? Metal mouth, if you had braces when you were a kid, yeah. Chubby, lumpy. Giggle box. Giggle, well, that's not so bad. Giggle box, I guess. I mean. Giggle at the wrong time. Oh, if you giggle at the wrong time, yeah. My name was Bun, so I was Honey Bun. Honey Bun, if your maiden name was Bun. Yeah, I mean, some people are blessed with really good last names, and we can't help that. People make fun of you, right? Anything else you can think of? What kind of labels do we place on people? You might say they're lazy, right? Might say, you know, other things. Not smart, stupid, dumb, dummy, pushy. What else? Falsy? Bossy. I was like, what? Bossy, yeah, you can be bossy. But even in our political climate, in our church climate, we have these divisions, don't we? We have the division of conservative and liberal or progressive. We have progressives and traditionalists. We have all these things that divide us, and all these names and labels that we put on each other. And some of those things are pretty darn hurtful, aren't they? Because nobody's just one thing, are they? I might use a label to, you know, identify myself with a particular leaning theologically. Like I'm probably a more moderate conservative. So I'm sort of in the middle. I like to be a centrist and weigh things out. You know, and some things I'm more conservative on, and some things I'm a little bit more to the other side on. But I'm not just one thing, am I? That's something to remember. But the thing about names is, the thing about stereotypes, the thing about labels, the thing about judging people or being critical of them, condescending of them, is that those messages stick with us, don't they? They hurt for a long time. Some of those things that we were told as a child, you're not good enough. You have failed. You're dumb. What's this? D is not for dandy on your report card. Right? Can't you do better? Why are you so skinny? Why is your handwriting so messy? You need to eat more. You need to do this. Pick up your mess. Don't be a slob. Tuck your shirt in. Do this, do that, do. Names, over and over. And that script gets caught in our heads, doesn't it? It's amazing to me how that script gets caught in our heads. It's almost as if, and I experienced this recently, and that's why it's so powerful right now when I think about the names and the labels we place on people. I know who I am. As a Christian, as a follower of Jesus Christ, I know how important I am to my friends and family. I know that I'm loved by this church and so many other people, that I'm so blessed. But growing up, I heard some of those things that we're talking about this morning. You're not worthy. You're not good enough. You're not this. You're not that. And that script, I thought, was like in the back of my mind, just gone. But then all of a sudden, something happened in life, and it's almost like the switch flipped back. And those feelings of unworthiness and being unlovable and rejection and all those labels kind of came back. You know, we've all heard the words, right? Sticks and stones may break your bones, but words can never hurt you. Well, as well-meaning as that is, it's wrong. In fact, psychologists have said that the words we speak to each other and those labels and that criticism and that hurt and those things that how we treat one another are as serious of wounds as if we broke a leg or broke an arm. Because it damages our very soul. It damages our self-worth and our self-image. It keeps playing that script that's sometimes hard to erase and sometimes even comes back if we aren't willing to take a look at the real truth. You see, there's good news in today's scriptures. It's better than good news. It's great news. Listen again to what Paul writes to the Galatians. But when the fullness of time had come, God sent his Son, born of a woman under the law, in order to redeem you and me, to erase that script and those who were under the law, so that we might receive adoption. Adoption as children. And because you are children, God has sent the Spirit of his Son into our hearts, crying, Abba, Father. That intimate relationship, again, we have with God. You're no longer a slave to your past, to the scripts, to the things people have said about you, but you're a child of God. And if you're a child, then you're also an heir through God. You know, in other words, in God's kingdom, no one is unimportant. No one is unworthy. No one is unlovable. No one is stupid. No one is too tall, too slim, too fat, too short, too this, too that. You are important to God, just the way you are. You are a son or a daughter in God's family. God chose you. And he opened the door through Jesus Christ that you might walk through. But again, that's not the message we receive in the world, is it? I mean, I'm amazed at watching the news. I try not to watch too much news because it just gets me all wrapped around the axle. What are you talking about? I don't watch that much news, Tammy. Quit shaking your head. That's not the interactive part of this sermon. So I'm watching the news, and you know, you've got all this political stuff going on, and we're in the midst of the pandemic, and there's a virus vaccine, and some people are, don't take the vaccine, it's all rigged, it's all this, it's all that. And then, well, who gets the vaccine? Who are the important people? Who are the people that are essential? Well, what if you're not essential? What's that make you? Non-essential? Unimportant? So I'm sure, I guess there must be some listing of like when you can get the vaccine and your number. I bet I'm like, there's about 330 million people or something like that in the United States, right? So I'm probably like 329,999th or something. We're told even every day that we're non-essential. In the Army, I love this thing. You know, we were getting ready to go to Desert Storm and the Gulf War, the first get-go around. And, you know, all of a sudden we were all we were excited and nervous all at the same time. You know, if you train to do something, then you want to do it, right? So you got that excitement, but at the same time, you're nervous. And then, you know, the commander or the first sergeant or whoever would get in front of the platoon and say, well, gentlemen, I just want you to remember as we go to war that everyone here is expendable. Oh, I'm expendable. So let's see, I'm non-essential according to today's standard. I'm expendable according to the military. What other messages are we getting? But you know what? In God's world, nobody's expendable. Nobody that's ever been born is expendable. No one that's alive is not non-essential. You're all essential. And in fact, let me just go to the next point, which is being essential. And I'm going to chase a rabbit for a minute because I think this is important. It's off topic about our individual thing, but the church. Is the church essential? Yeah. If you can go to Walmart and the grocery store, you can go to church. Right? Is Jesus Christ essential? Yes. Because all those messages that you hear on the news or that you hear through the military or you hear when you were growing up, you know, that tell you you're not essential, that you're just expendable, that you're not really worthy or lovable. Well, if you know Jesus Christ, you are essential to Jesus Christ. And Jesus Christ is essential to us, isn't he? Yes. So you know what? As long as these doors of this church can stay open, they're open. So if you're worshiping online and you feel comfortable coming in to Cassidy, you're always welcome here. Because Jesus is essential. Our faith is essential. We have to live life. And we live life through Jesus Christ. That's not to say we aren't cautious, that we aren't safe, that we don't consider other people's well-being. I don't say that at all. But I do say that you're essential, Jesus is essential, and the church is essential. The world's problems are not going to be solved by a new law, a great politician. They're going to be solved through Jesus Christ and the people of faith rising up and taking a stand and making things happen in this world. So you're essential. God says it to through the letter that Paul writes to the Galatians. You know, he says so many things in that letter, but not only that, he says that it doesn't really matter what the world says about you. In God's kingdom, in God's reality, to God, whose you are matters more than who you are. In other words, when people threaten to reject you, when people stand up and tell you you're wrong for this or that or the other, you might be, but take it all for what it's worth. What does God really say about you? And in that letter, he says that you are adopted, that you are a precious son or daughter of the living God. You know, my son Hunter's adopted. I always think about that principle of adoption whenever the scriptures talk about it. Because adoption is when you go out and choose somebody to be a part of your family, isn't it? It's more than even a birthright. You choose somebody to be your family. God chose you, and He chose you because He loves you. In fact, the scriptures are clear in this. You might want to jot a few of these scriptures down if you're taking notes today, because the scriptures say this, first of all, right? God's word, the truth of all, says that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. That's from Psalm 139:14. The word, the truth says that you were created in the very image of God. So God created humankind in His image. And in the image of God, He created them, male and female. He created them. Genesis, right in the beginning, second verse. Genesis 1:2. You are accepted. Remember, the world says you're not essential, you're just expendable, but God says you're accepted to the praise of the glory of His grace by which He made us accepted in the beloved. Ephesians 1:6. You are loved. As the Father has loved me, so I have loved you. Abide in my love. John 15:9. You're anointed. He who establishes us with you in Christ has anointed us, and anointed us is God. 2 Corinthians 1:21. You're a new creation. That past script, you don't have to worry about that anymore because you're made new. So if anyone is in Christ, there is a new creation. Everything old has passed away. See, everything has become new. 2 Corinthians 5:17. You're blessed. Blessed be the God, the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, who blessed us in Christ with every spiritual blessing in heavenly places. Ephesians 1:3. You're light. You're of great value. You're a friend of Jesus. All those things God says about you. He says you're essential. You're important. I love you. You're my son. You're my daughter. Whose voice matters in the world? What other people say about us or what God says about us? I'm going with God. And God tells me I'm worthy. In fact, to wrap it up, here's another interactive part. When I say, but I am God's child, you are going to say, yes, I am God's child. Are you ready for practice? Okay. But I am God's child. Yes, God's child. All right. So, it's a little long again. So put on your listening ears. This is a poem. It's called God's Child. And it goes like this. I am somebody. Yes, I am God's child. I may be young, I may be old, I may be hot, I may be cold. But I am God's child. I may be educated, I may be unlettered, I may be free, I may be fettered, but I am God's child. Yes, I am God's child. I may be black, I may be white, I may be brown, I may be a clown, but I am God's child. Yes, I am God's child. I may be rich, I may be poor, I may wear a brace, I may even snore. But I am God's child. Yes, I am God's child. I may be short, I may be tall, I may have hair, I may be bald, but I am God's child. Yes, I am God's child. Hey, I may be fat, I may be skinny, I may have muscles, I may not have any, but I'm God's child. I may have a family, I may be alone, I may sing, I can sing, I may swim like a stone, but I'm God's child. Yes, I'm God's child. I may live in a house, I may live in a trailer, I may be successful, I may be a failure, but I'm God's child. Yes, I'm God's child. And the last one, I may be a sinner, I may be a saint, but a nobody I certainly ain't. Because my friend Jesus is my Savior. I am God's child. Yes, I am God's child. Amen.